Hello and welcome to episode number 14 of Light the Eye, presented by the U of I Credit Union. I'm Scott Beatty.
And I'm Robert Rosenthal.
We're looking forward to our time together. Coming up, we're going to dive into the weekend that was for Illinois and the week ahead. Some important news to get into. Plus, there was a national championship football game that we will react to. And part 2 of our listener mailbag, that we will answer some of your questions and comments. Robert, before we go any further, what do we do?
I believe we light the eye.
It's a new semester. The students are finally back on campus, and I kid you not, this is what I saw as I was driving into our studios here at Siddle in the Armory on the campus of the University of Illinois. Guy on a bike, face covered up with a, what do you call those things? Not a baklava. That's a dessert, but it's like...
But the thing that...
I always get those mixed up, like balaclava or something. I got one for Christmas. It's great.
Yes.
Because if you go running or whatever outdoors. But anyway,
Yep.
The guy on a bicycle had on his back a tuba.
Really?
I'm not making this up. It's like a gig bag, and it's like a real tuba, like a concert tuba.
Not a sousaphone, but he's got the whole thing in the case on his back.
Yeah. And I just thought it's a sign.
Was it a Miraphone tuba, Scott? This is where you throw out a tuba brand.
No, and I don't think it goes back to a Helicon.
We're 45 seconds in. We've lost everyone. And I love it.
This is what they call recall or
Yes.
a throwback.
Mm-hmm. Yes, back to tuba talk.
There was tubas came up on this podcast.
A monthly feature on this podcast should be tuba talk.
Yeah. I just thought it was a beautiful sign. When I was up at Northwestern for the basketball game up there, it's a mix of snow and sleet. And I kid you not, I saw a guy on a bicycle. It's a strong winter storm at the moment.
Yep.
It's pretty miserable outside. But he was on one of those rental electric bike things, like a Vio.
Mm-hmm.
And he had on his back a hard case cello. And I thought, this is Northwestern.
Yes, very Northwestern. You know what I saw today? A guy in shorts walking to class, and I love it. It's 26 degrees on my way here, and he's in shorts walking to class. I was that guy. I was that exact guy walking down Chalmers 34 years ago in shorts on a January day. Nothing like the coat and shorts combo on the way to class.
Do you have an unusual body temperature regulation
No,
inside
it's
yourself?
Just the classrooms, at least one classroom I had freshman year was so hot that it wasn't.
How hot was it?
It wasn't worth. It was worth getting really cold on the walk to class to not be miserably hot the entire class. So God bless you, shorts guy. Keep it up. You're keeping up a long tradition here at the University of Illinois.
We need to say hello to somebody we haven't had with us in a little bit, but she is back from cold weather to cold weather. Say hello to Ella Peterson. Hello, Ella.
Hey guys, how are you?
You just got back from a ski trip.
I did.
Yeah, what was it? A Big Sky?
It was Big Sky, Montana.
Man, that's awesome.
Worth it?
Every second. It's actually warmer there than it is here. So it was a bit of a rude awakening for us coming back, which hasn't been the same in past years.
I'm sure. You fly into Bozeman for that? Where do you fly to?
You fly into Bozeman,
Okay.
which is a whole thing now. They're calling it Bose Vegas.
Yes.
It's getting turned into a whole, very commercial.
Yep.
It used to be the best airport.
My wife and I were there in the summer, and downtown Bozeman is it's one of the more underrated spots in the West.
Is that where Montana State is, or
Yes.
the University of Montana?
Montana State. So that's where the title was. That's
The Bobcats.
That's
we were there
Title
for the
Town.
parade. We didn't go, but we were in the same area.
Interesting. There you go.
They're on a roll right now.
Yep.
That's right. There was a big parade in downtown Bozeman for it, right?
Absolutely.
You skipped out on that.
I did. I
Not
was
Bobcat
skiing.
fans. when I was a kid, I used to get to go skiing a lot out west. So are you all about moguls, groomed, or powder?
I am all about difficulty because I can't let my older brother beat me in anything. So I do whatever he does. So I just try and match that.
Blacks?
That way.
Black diamonds?
Yeah.
Double blacks?
I dabble in the doubles.
Wow. Never would.
But doubles are never really groomed, though. They're always
No, by
moguls.
definition.
Yes. So, no.
I think you have to sign several waivers to go on a double black diamond.
Yes.
No, it was hilarious. All the signs leading down to the run were don't ski this.
Yes.
And then you go ahead and ski it anyway.
Yes. No, don't even try.
Yeah.
Don't make us have to come get you. Yep. Okay, so Ella, I got an image you can bring up my screen. I'm just wondering if you saw this week. This tweet was everywhere, and all my friends were sending it to me. There are 2 cities in America named O'Fallon. You grew up in one of them, and you grew up in the blue dot and the red dot. So let's talk a little O'Fallon and how confusing it is.
For those who don't see this,
Yes.
the blue dot is the Illinois side.
Yes. There are 2 cities in the entire country named O'Fallon, and they're 25 miles from each other. One on the Illinois side of St. Louis and one on the Missouri side. And it's terribly confusing. And I'm sure you dealt with that, right?
It is, but I would say that there should be some emphasis on I live in the better O'Fallon.
Yes.
There's a big difference between the two.
100%.
Best to be from the Illinois side.
Yes.
The O'Fallon Panthers, that's where I went to high school. That's where I spent my entire childhood, and it's easily the best place. And I know you're familiar with the 618 area.
Yes. I mean, I grew up in Highland. My sister lives in O'Fallon right now, so I am all about the Metro East. And I also lived for 25 years on the Missouri side after I graduated from here. And I lived out in Troy, Missouri for a while, which is even further out than O'Fallon. And I lived in the city for a while and other places. So, yes, it's generally there. People use O'Fallon and Mo-Fallon as but people from the Missouri O'Fallon, since it's bigger, they don't like to, you need the different name. We don't need the different name. This is the real O'Fallon. That's the Illinois O'Fallon. So
well, on the other side of the state, you've got Kansas City, Missouri, and Kansas City, Kansas.
Yes.
And we don't need to get in a whole thing here, but maybe there's some issues with border towns in Missouri.
And Missouri, yes. Yep. All right. O'Fallon talk to lead off the show.
Good to have you back, Ella. And I had a listener reach out to me today and said, enjoying the pod, you guys do go down some rabbit holes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where they're getting that from.
Isn't that the point behind the podcast format, Scott, is the rabbit hole? Aren't people here for the rabbit holes?
I'm not sure yet.
We'll find out.
My jury's out.
Yes, I'm sure it is.
But we should start to talk sports.
Yeah, that's what this is about.
Well, yeah, you said it was about rabbit holes. Is this the 2 things can be true at once deal?
Absolutely.
We do have tough news today for Illinois men's basketball. It was announced earlier today, we are recording this on Tuesday, that Kylan Boswell is out for at least probably a month or so, out indefinitely. He fractured his hand. This is the same hand that he had fractured a few years ago before he was at Illinois. It might have been back when he was in high school. I'm not sure. But it's a tough break, no pun intended, for Illinois to lose what I would say is probably the glue of everything there on the floor in Kylan Boswell. Brad Underwood, I don't want to pin the guy down on a specific timeline, but maybe back in mid-February.
Which means he would miss the 3 big road games at Purdue, at Nebraska, and at Michigan State.
Yeah.
All in the next 18 days. So, yeah, that's really rough. I mean, for me, I'll be honest, I kind of give up on the dream of a Big Ten title. This was going to be a year where you got to win 17 to win the Big Ten. And to do that, these 3 road games, the next 3 road games, are decide Illinois' fate before Michigan in Champaign at the end of February even gets here. And I don't know how you stop Braden Smith without Kylan Boswell. Just very simply with that, you have your defensive stopper. I think he's going to be Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. And how do you go to Michigan State and win? How do you go to Nebraska and win? it's really hard to see it without your defensive heart and soul. It's pretty devastating news.
Well, I understand how you're thinking that. It is 100% devastating, but I don't know that I'm ready to be fatalistic.
Yep.
There's just so many you don't know in this sport.
Yep. And we saw, I mean, a friend texted me today about Marcus Damask when the Terrence Shannon thing happened and he missed 7, 8, whatever games he missed. And suddenly Marcus Damask stepped up into superstar territory. And I believe one of those games was at Purdue, and it was a very close game until the end, mostly because, Damask kind of took over. So maybe there is another defensive stopper who's going to emerge here. I think the offense will be fine, but defensively, that's a tough loss.
Yeah, I don't know how to say, intellectually, like, you could just definitely make that up. That's no problem. That's for sure not true.
Yep.
At the same time, this is what you do if you're a basketball program. You weather these storms. What if Purdue loses Braden Smith? What if 3 other Big Ten teams lose key players for a month? I don't know that all hopes are dashed.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
chin up, Robert.
I mean, it reminds me, honestly, the first thought I had was Kendall Gill in '89. Now, I was a high school sophomore at the time. But for those who don't go back that far, in '89, Illinois worked its way all the way to number 1 on a Sunday in January. This time of year, it was January 22nd. Illinois plays Georgia Tech. It goes to overtime. Illinois wins in overtime, double overtime. And at the very, very end of that game, Kendall Gill breaks his foot and misses the next 7 games. So Illinois moves to number 1 in the polls that Monday, first time at number 1 since like the 50s or whatever. And it was this huge deal, and went to Minnesota without Gill and lost that following Wednesday or whatever. So, same time of year, January 20th today. Same time of year to lose a heart and soul guy just like Gill. So it reminded me of '89, which, hey, let's be positive here, which obviously then turned around and became, a Final Four team. So, Gill returned late February that year or maybe early March, and they got it rolling and made it all the way to the Final Four. So who knows? It's good that he's not out for the season, or if not anything like that. But yeah, tough blow.
I don't know enough to know how hard is it to come back from a hand issue. Obviously critical for shooting, but something to me says, well, isn't that better than if it was a knee or, something else in the lower body?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's touch is hard to regain.
Yeah.
It's why they shoot, why you hear he put up 20,000 shots this summer or whatever. It's all about repetition. And so, who knows how long he won't be able to shoot or whatever. So it's a blow. Again, yes, need to focus on the fact that he will be back, and the season is always all about the postseason, and they should be at full strength by then. Ty Rodgers, is he, we had originally heard February 1 as a possible return date. Is that still a thing? Could he fill in here and be a defensive spark?
Brad Underwood gave nothing definitive on Ty Rodgers other than he said the knee is fine, but he has a groin injury that he's dealing with. No timeline attached to that.
Yep.
So whether that's delaying his comeback or not, we don't know.
Yep.
I'm very curious to see how Mihailo Petrovic fills in. I mean, there's going to be more than one player that has to fill in for the absence of Kylan Boswell.
Yep.
But maybe
we might see Lee. I mean, you might see when you need a defensive stop, this might be Brandon Lee's, moment of, hey, 6 to 8 minutes here where you can go in and play tough D on their best scorer and frustrate somebody on the court like Boswell does. Maybe we see something like that.
The Illini played Maryland on Wednesday night. There is just not a lot on paper to be encouraged about when it comes to Maryland.
No.
If you are a Terrapin fan, they just do not have anything right now to write home about. They did get their first Big Ten win over Penn State. They beat them 96-73. But before that, their best win was probably Marquette. And Marquette is not good this year.
Nope.
Their net, Maryland's net, is 152 right now.
And 160 would make this a quad 4 game. Quad 3 home games go up to number 159. So, yeah, in a sense, this is like one of those preseason games against Colgate. Like, this is that level of opponent so far. They have some terrible losses, and, compare it to Iowa. Maryland went to Iowa and lost by 20 or whatever?
19.
So, yeah, it's Illinois just went to Iowa and won. So that should tell you, what kind of game to expect. But it's going to be an adjustment game without your starter.
Yeah. I feel like Illinois can absorb it, certainly against Maryland, without Kylan Boswell. To your point, yeah. Figuring out the Purdue Boilermakers on Saturday at Mackey at 2 p.m., that's a whole nother task, but
yes,
one at a time.
Yes. It's one of those, why do I go there? Like, I'm going to be there in Mackey, and we don't have anybody to shut down Smith, and he has tossed daggers our way for 4 years, and now without Kylan to guard him, I'm just scared to death.
I feel like we're in an episode of like a 1950s sitcom, and I need to be the wise dad here. And you're like, there's just no point. We're just going to go lose. And I have to be like, son,
if I ask her to the dance, she's just going to say no, Dad.
It's going to be okay, Bobby. Sometimes in life, it's not about whether you win or lose. It's about how the effort you give.
Well, I'll get out of my doldrums at some point. We're 2 hours into me learning this news, so there's a certain grieving period here that I need to go through. I've got the 5 steps.
I need to validate your emotions.
Yes. I'm at depression. I need to get to bargaining before I can get to acceptance.
Can we trade for a point guard?
Yes.
We haven't quite reached that in college athletics.
Maybe someday you could just sign someone off the wire at a moment like this where you can...
Should we have a development squad?
Can Bielich come in and, play immediately? He's enrolled now.
Yeah. Just remind, Illinois has other players who are good at basketball.
Yes. And there's the Bill Simmons, Patrick Ewing theory, which is the Knicks. I'm going to butcher this, but the Knicks had a season where they took a step forward because Patrick Ewing was injured. And John Starks and others took big steps forward, and the Knicks were maybe better that year because Ewing was out. So the theory is you lose your star, and the collective, every other guy saying like, "Oh man, I gotta really up my game now," is a positive and not a negative when the star goes out.
It's very similar to Michael Jordan wins 3 championships with the Bulls, and then he retires from basketball. And he goes away for a couple of years. And the Bulls, okay, I'm being told they didn't win championships without him. But then he came back, and they won championships again.
And when he came back, the guys who were there, your Tony Kukoc and your everybody else had taken a step forward as a player in his absence. And
this is all part of the plan.
Yes. So I think what we're saying here, as I reach bargaining, is that
I'm
at
glad
some
we
point
skipped anger.
We're gonna make the Final Four, and it's gonna be this period of adjustment without Boswell that's gonna make everybody so much a better defender that by the time he returns, we're a better team. I'm on board.
The 24 season, Shannon was no question the star, the best player on the court. And you missed him for a significant time. Obviously not because of injury. So when he came back, it was maybe an adjustment a little bit conditioning-wise, but he was otherwise ready to go. So this will be different whenever Boswell comes back. But other people, to your point, Damas stepped up into new ways. Everybody kind of rose to the occasion, and that team went to the Elite Eight.
Yep. And we could see, we had the discussion of, maybe it's better that it's Boswell than Wagler. You lose him for a month. What do you do with that? You don't really have a replacement for that. The scoring he's provided and and the slashing and the hitting threes and all this stuff. And so, excuse me. So maybe this is some kind of, a senior will be able to acclimate himself back into the lineup very, very quickly once he does come back, and there won't be any issues of that. So, look, I'm trying. I'm working through it.
You also have a very steady Eddie Keaton Wagler.
Yep.
Plays above a freshman.
Yep.
In terms of maturity,
Yep.
let alone his skills.
Yep.
All right. We'll see how things progress there. Sun's going to come up tomorrow.
I think so.
Let's
I'm fairly certain.
Let's talk about something more positive.
Let's do it.
For you. Something happy. Indiana won a national championship.
Come on. I can't.
In football.
You should have been on some of my group texts last night. Like, just the hint of anyone saying like 3 straight titles for the Big Ten. I'm just like sitting there, gritted teeth, responding with like, nobody cares. I want them to lose. I don't care. This is miserable. I hate this. I'm miserable. I'm not going to sleep tonight. I was not in a good headspace.
Somebody had put out there, I wish I had it, but it was a map of the country, and it was color-coded areas of the country that are rooting for Indiana versus areas of the country that are rooting for Miami. And Miami, I think, was in green. So there's a little bit around South Florida in Miami where they're rooting for Miami, and basically Tippecanoe County around Purdue, and a little bit around South Bend is rooting for Miami.
Well, there should have been a tiny pixel in Champaign.
I know.
Surrounding my house.
Can't you zoom back for a moment and appreciate what this was? 16-0 from 715, I think that's the number, losses in history. And they're the losingest football team. It's not like, the Yankees won a World Series again. The Dodgers won again. This is the worst football program collectively in the history of the United States. Had a perfect season and often dominated opponents.
And if it was Wake Forest, I'm on board, and I'm loving it. If it was Oregon State, God bless them, they lost for 50 years and then out of nowhere won a title. It's Indiana, man. Like, the kid who stole my chair is happy today. I'm not good with that. Like, these are, like, I often say to people, like, I want people to live my online Twitter life just for a couple days. Just see what it's like to have fans from other fan bases, since I live my fandom out loud, and I'm a prime target for fans of other fan bases to take shots at. It's a choice I've made. It's why people say don't be that personal about your life online, because you're just giving targets for people to aim at. Well, yes, I do that, and yes, they do. So it's all of Indiana fans, man. Just come to a seminar I put together on things Indiana fans have said to me over the years. But that's
only a certain pocket of Indiana fans.
Yes, look, my friend Jeff went to Indiana. I sent him a text last night. I said, congrats, man. This is one of the most amazing stories in sports. I can separate myself and be happy for my friends. I can do that. But I also bleed orange and blue, and I just don't like it when a campus very close to here has that kind of moment, and I'm seeing what Kirkwood looked like for them, and I want Green Street to look like that here, and I'm just never going to move off that position.
So there's a little bit of jealousy.
Yeah, there's jealousy in it. There is.
Should I be charging for this?
There is a big part of just feels unfair. That
why do you think that is? Should I be taking notes?
When I was growing up, I'm a college student. I think a lot of it is, as I said on the last time, like, I relate to their fan base because they were terrible while we were terrible, and even they were decent. Like, their best little phase was like late '80s Anthony Thompson, like those Mallory teams. And then they got bad in the 90s when we got bad in the 90s, and they stayed bad while we were bad. And they were our, as I said last time, our cousin. So to see your cousin get promoted to CEO of Microsoft, it's like, man, that's still...
That is a random analogy.
That's still like, I know that dude, right? Like
Yeah. You wouldn't be happy for your cousin?
No, like I was with him that one time,
I
when,
liken it to this. I go to a baseball game and I'm rooting for, I've even seen this with Illinois. I always said to myself when I was younger as a Cubs fan, if I go to a Cubs game and the other guy throws a no-hitter, throws a perfect game, I'm standing up and applauding.
Sure.
At some point, like what you just did is incredible. And I may not like it that you're wearing a uniform for the other team, but I just sat there and go, it's just awesome.
Right.
What you did.
Let me say it this way. I'll use obviously a college football analogy. 1980, Dave Wilson, Illinois quarterback, throws for 500 yards, 400 and some yards at Ohio State. The Ohio State crowd gives him a standing ovation. Because, I mean, look, nobody in 1980 was throwing the football. So that many yards back then was like, I think he just threw for 2,000 yards.
Yeah, the famous first play from scrimmage was a long pass that was incomplete, but everybody in the stadium
exactly
at Memorial Stadium applauded it because
that's
Illinois threw a pass.
Mike White went and got California JUCOs to play California West Coast football and throw it around, and that's how Illinois was built in the 80s. So yes, Ohio State fans could put rivalries aside and this and that, and they won the game, but they could give Dave Wilson a standing ovation for like that performance. They would not do that for Michigan. Okay, they would not do that for probably not for Penn State these days, or like neighboring states, or
okay. But what's different there is if you're Ohio State or you're Michigan or you're Penn State, and any one of those three, the other two, has a perfect season and wins the national championship, I could see why you'd be like, because you're all kind of in the same sandbox.
Yes.
Resources and history, and nobody would sit there and go, I can't believe Ohio State just ran the table. Well, of course they should. Right. They got this payroll, and they got the. Yeah. This is Indiana.
Right. I can't separate that from the Indiana fans I have interacted with and the basketball rivalry and Bobby Knight and Lou Henson wanting to fight each other and all of that history. I just can't separate that. So my point is, yes, those Ohio State fans did that for the Illinois quarterback, but they would not do that for a close rival. They only did that because they don't consider Illinois a rival. I consider Indiana one of our rivals, and therefore their happiness is my pain, which makes them feel great. Those Indiana fans stole my chair. It's a big Illini chair that I'm sure they have it. Like,
oh, that's right. That wasn't a metaphor. They literally stole a chair. They literally
stole. I put everything away except for I left the tent down and the chairs sitting out, and they came by because they knew where my tailgate was and stole an Illini chair, and it's I'm sure displayed at some campus house right now. And those guys are get to celebrate a national title, and I don't like it, and I don't feel good about it, and I'm not gonna. I will just acknowledge my friend Jeff and leave it there, because it's just hard to see a school 150 miles away or whatever bring home a national title.
Well, I think for next time, I want you to work on.
Okay. Yes. Let's do it.
Put yourself in the perspective of a nice Indiana fan.
There aren't any.
Yes, there are. I know one. All right. Plus, Jane Pauley and Joe Buck. Aren't you happy for them?
I am not happy for. I am orange and blue, and therefore cannot be happy for Crimson.
Well, I just marvel at the whole thing, and I'm just gonna.
Yep.
And I'm gonna rooting or not. I marvel at the whole thing.
Again, if it was Utah, if it was Syracuse, I would be caught up in the Hoosiers movie.
Okay, everything you've
this.
referenced is a non-Big Ten, non-bordering state.
Yes, that's purely what it is.
All I'm saying is there's probably a Syracuse fan that would come steal a chair too.
And if they do, death to Syracuse.
Oh my gosh. Let's talk about something more positive, all right,
let's
for
do
you?
it. Yes.
All right.
I'm so sunny over here.
Yeah, I know.
Kylan Boswell and then Indiana winning it all.
This will make you feel better.
Okay.
The final AP poll for football came out.
Yes.
And Illinois almost got in it.
2 votes off. Bothered me so much.
Effectively 26th.
Yes. It is, look.
Do you think it was an Indiana voter that just kept him out?
Oh, I will find him if it is. They do have to publish their final votes. I will find him. Look, the parallels to 1989 and 1990 are now even crazier. So, for those who don't remember, Illinois football went 10-2 in 1989, returned a lot, went 8-4 in 1990. They finished 10th in the polls in 89. Were preseason number 11 in 1990, worked their way all the way up to 5th, and then finished the season ranked 25th after finishing 8-4. Same thing. 10-win season last year, number 14 preseason this year instead of number 11, and the final is 26th by 2 votes and not 25th. So the parallels of those 2 seasons under Makovic are now nearly identical to these 2 seasons under Bielema. So that's, let's hope next season isn't the 6-6 that 1991 was. That was my freshman year, Makovic's final year before taking the Texas job. But it's just fascinating to me that I've been writing about the comparisons of this 89-90 and 24-25 for a long time. And where do we end up this season? 9-4, 8-4 in the regular season, 9-4 after the Tennessee win, and nearly exactly the same spot in the poll at 25th. There you go.
Indiana finished number 1.
Yes, I'm a.
If they had lost, they'd be number 2. Would you have felt better?
Yes, I would have felt better.
You would have felt better, like, ha! Look at you guys. You win 15 games, but you couldn't win the final one.
No, it's just. I mean,
Miami's one throw away.
Signetti made a really great point afterwards of saying, like, this was really important for our legacy because, like, TCU made the same run we did, but then they lost 65-7 to Georgia in the title game. There have been Cinderella teams, even in college football, that have gotten this far, but then their legacy just kind of faded away. Like, even when he brings up TCU, a lot of people are like, oh, really? TCU was in the title game? Well, it was just 4 years ago. Or 3 years ago. So for them to win this was massive for the legacy of what they did. And look, I'm taking nothing away from him. What he has done is one of the most incredible coaching jobs in the history of college football. He went out and found the number 1 quarterback in the portal 2 years in a row. The second one became the Heisman winner. It's just an incredible eye for talent. It's amazing he didn't get a big-time job until he was 63 years old. And what he's done is unbelievable. Am I happy about it? No.
No, you don't have to be happy. I just wanted you to see if you would acknowledge it.
I can acknowledge how amazing it is. It's one of the best stories in college football history.
Well, I think we've made some real breakthroughs today.
Okay, that's good. Anything for me to work on, like take notes?
Wait, let's
in
go to
my
something
journal?
more positive, all right?
Yes.
How about this for positive?
Yes.
Illinois women's basketball. Got a win on Sunday, staved off a Northwestern comeback, and won at 74-71.
Yep.
The biggest question mark out there is, by the way, they don't play again until Saturday, is the status of Gretchen Dolan.
Yep.
With a knee injury, we don't know anything more than that.
I did a post on the website. It was just a back and forth of text between Heath and I, our friend Heath, who's writing some women's articles for my site. And so I watched the whole game, and he and I were just conversing back and forth via text over it. My main takeaway is Gretchen Dolan's a big part of this.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's, I don't want to say the glue like we saw from like Myra Cook last year or something. I don't want to say it's that type of thing, but I think it's pretty clear she makes a lot of the things go.
Well, the rotation is so tight.
Yep.
It's 7-8 players.
Yep.
And when you lose a starter, it just kind of throws everything off.
Yep. And Northwestern was playing the they were really physical. That was the they can't call every foul kind of a game.
Mm-hmm.
And,
well, that's what they've always done under
yes,
Joe McEwen.
And just collapsing down on Barry Wallace. I mean, she still scored 29. But
career high.
Yes.
She got another honor from the conference this week, by the way.
Yep. So, yeah, hopefully that was just a, Dolan missed the game last week. They held her out of this game as a precaution because they thought they could beat Northwestern without her, and then hopefully she returns Saturday because she's a big part of it.
And the next 3 opponents for Illinois are ranked.
Yes.
They're traveling to Lincoln, then they're hosting UCLA, and then they start their Northwest swing, and they got to start with Washington.
Yeah.
So they're all ranked. Hopefully Gretchen Dolan is back sooner than later. But at the time that we're talking about it, don't have any information other than the day-to-day status that's been put out there.
Yep. I guess we could also talk about the Minnesota win. I guess we haven't discussed
that was Saturday
since our last episode. So that's another positive. I mean, it wasn't the prettiest game, but got it done. Warmed down.
Here's correct me if I'm wrong. Has Illinois really had a comeback win? One of the things about that 24 team was they had the ability to come back, and they did that, 3 times in a row in the Big Ten tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this men's team this year has been pretty good at landing the first punches in the first half,
mm-hmm.
getting leads, and keeping leads.
Mm-hmm.
But they haven't had we're down a dozen and we got to figure out how to come back in this one yet. I mean, what was the dud of the losses? That was kind of UConn, right?
UConn was the biggest dud.
Alabama was tight.
Yep.
I mean, I don't remember.
Nebraska was a down 19-5 earlier, whatever it was.
Yeah, that's right, because Sanford went off.
Yeah, and tried to claw back.
They did kind of come back.
Yeah, and
so
got it tied late, but then Nebraska hit the 3 at the buzzer.
Yeah, that was a game where it never felt like they took it over.
Yes.
It just they came back in it.
Yep.
So they just haven't had a whole lot of comeback story in them yet.
Yep. This one was down 6 late the first half. They put in Petrovic and got a little spark from Mahalo. And
to me, that was you've won 6 in a row, and at what point, early start, it just felt sleepy.
Yep.
Crush isn't there yet, and I'm not even ragging on the crowd. I'm just saying it was just a reality. There just wasn't that typical energy in the building, even though it was a sellout.
Yep.
And it just felt like you were due for a little bit of a sluggish. And still, the floor of this team is so good.
Yes.
That they could kind of weather that, and then okay, now we're going to do our thing.
I think the biggest thing on Saturday, and I wrote about this, was they played 2 guys on the bench a total of 19 minutes. They didn't go to an 8th guy the entire game, even though they had somebody foul out. A very, very thin roster. And you could tell on their shooting in the last 10 minutes, Minnesota was tired.
Yeah.
Some of those threes, the air ball and the one that barely hit the front of the rim, they were out. They had no gas left because these guys played 39, 37 minutes.
Against Illinois.
Yes, and Illinois was rotating 9 guys and had, put in some, maybe even put a little more bench into it. So, yeah, it was tough. It was tough to see that, their one guard was just, you could see on his face, he was just done, just didn't have anything left in the tank. And so the last 10 minutes of that game were just an Illinois takeover.
All right, so that's what we got.
Okay.
We good? Next session?
Yeah, next session I'll be much better. Hopefully there won't be a rival winning a national title and a basketball player missing a month.
Well, I don't think there'll be any more title games between now and then.
Hopefully not.
Let's do some mailbag, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, we'll do that in just a moment. Light the Eye is presented by the U of I Credit Union. We're very grateful for their partnership. And if you're an Illinois fan and would like to display your Illini pride, you can certainly do that by becoming a member at the U of I Community Credit Union. Just head to their website, uoficreditunion.org. You can get a lot of great information there, what they have to offer with checking and savings and other vehicles for you. But the best part about it might be, as an Illini fan, you can have a debit card that displays your Illini pride, and you become a member. So it's one of the key aspects of being part of a credit union. We're really grateful to Chris and the entire team for joining us in this venture, and we hope you'll check them out, the U of I Credit Union. One thing we didn't talk about, Robert, was the transfer portal for Illinois football, and we touched on this last time, but once we get a complete picture of the roster going into spring football, the portal entering into the portal period has closed, but not all the signings have been announced, or perhaps haven't even been figured out yet for football teams across the country. And with the national championship having just ended last night, there's even players from Indiana and Miami that if they want to, they can portal.
Sure.
So not everything is set. So it's better to wait until you get a full picture on everything.
Yeah, I mean, classes start today, so
lest you have too early of a reaction to a situation, Robert,
Yes.
And just assume something fatally will.
As you
go
know,
amiss.
during the season, I won't predict the season until the night before, and I won't predict the game until like the sun goes down on Friday night. I need all of the information first.
Yes.
I always preach this during the basketball portal.
So when, for example, a key player is injured, you were not ready to just say, well, there goes the Big Ten title. That's not something you would ever say, right?
There I will react with wild emotions. When it comes to roster stuff, yes, I'm always hold, and then we're good.
Okay, well, we're just learning the nuances of this
Yes, so I'm
adventure
still in,
we're on.
I'm still in hold. We'll probably see some staff shuffling or something. Every year there's one or two assistants that moves on or takes another job or is let go and they move in a different direction at something. So there's going to be a few more things we learn and this and that, and a few more players added from the portal, and then we can give it a full breakdown.
If you're enjoying the podcast, we really would appreciate your feedback. Please don't hesitate to leave us a review, or like and subscribe is also a great way to help us in our growth. We thank you so much. And if you would like to drop us a question or leave us a comment or some feedback, whatever it is, you can email us, which is still a thing. Email is still a thing. lighttheeye@gmail.com. That's lighttheeye, the letter I, podcast@gmail.com. And that's where we have some questions. We did a little bit of this last episode. We're going to do some more. Ella has been flipping through the mailbag. Ella, I have a question, though, for you.
Take it away.
Email. Do you check email much?
I do. Just with work and everything.
Sure.
I'm a frequent flyer.
Yeah, but I heard at one point when everything kind of switched from postal mail and printed to email was like the thing. And then with social media and phones, I just don't know if students check email as much.
It's really harped on in our classes.
Yeah.
So I think that if you want a good grade, you kind of have to check those emails quite a bit.
Interesting. Yeah. We discussed this before on the pod because I was here for the first year of email to, you get your own email address and all that kind of stuff. And, we never submitted papers or anything else online. It was a little too early for that. But I'm fascinated to know that, it feels like some of the things classes would go with some kind of Slack-like thing or something like that instead of just straight up emails from professors and such.
All right, Ella, what do you got for us in the mailbag?
Okay, so Robert, this could be a bit of a sensitive subject. But
Well, it's okay today. This is
Daniel
therapy.
wants to know your predictions on record needed to win the Big Ten. So if they were to win it, what record is needed?
It's a great question because this is a weird.
Robert's answer is Kylan Boswell healthy?
Yes.
Because obviously.
Yes. Yeah. I'm gonna pull up. You don't have to pull up my screen, Ella. I'm just gonna pull this up for my own reference here. But in the net rankings that came out today, there's 5 Big Ten teams that are kind of high. Actually, you know what? I'm going to pull up the bracket matrix. Basically, the thought here is the way people are looking at Big Ten teams, there's this big gap between the top 5 and everyone else. So here, I'll just go with the latest bracket matrix. This is a website that assembles 100-some different brackets to have a consensus of all these brackets think that Arizona and Michigan are 1 seeds and that type of thing. Here's how, if we just go in the number of overall seeds, they have Michigan 2 and they have Purdue 5. So Michigan's a 1 seed, Purdue's the top 2 seed. But if you just look at the list, Michigan is 2, Purdue is 5, Nebraska is 6, Michigan State is 12, and Illinois is 13.
This is net or
this
is a bracket seeding?
This is the bracket matrix and where they see them on the seeding line. If the committee is going down and seeding teams today, this is the consensus of where they would be. So 5 Big Ten teams in the top 13. The next Big Ten team on here is Iowa as the last 8 seed, so number 32. So you have 5 Big Ten teams viewed as a 1, 2, or 3 seed, or Illinois would be, in this scenario, the first 4 seed. Again, that's as of today, and a lot will change. And then the next Big Ten team is Iowa being the last 8 seed, and then Wisconsin and USC as 9 seeds, and Ohio State is 11, and on down. So there's this very clear top tier of the Big Ten that is Michigan, Purdue, Nebraska, Illinois, and Michigan State. And so because of that, that's the kind of thing where those 5 teams are really going to beat up on everybody else. If you don't have any of those teams that are future 4 seeds, 5 seeds, 6 seeds that are decent, knocking on the door for top 25, that type of thing.
Not quite as much parity in the league this year.
Yeah.
More top heavy.
There's this big top. So when you have that, that tells me the Big Ten team to win the Big Ten might be 18-2, might be 17-3. We've seen 15-5 teams win the Big Ten, 14-6, a bunch of teams tying at 14-6. I think this year is going to be at least 16 wins, but probably 17. I could see Michigan going 18-2.
It's harder because you don't double play everybody.
Yep.
So there's more single plays, and some of them are at home and some of them are on the road. So without breaking down Nebraska's schedule yet and Purdue's schedule, and Michigan's, that seems right. Yeah. I would not be surprised if it's 17.
Yeah.
It just feels like somebody's going to come down to earth, and maybe I'll be a little surprised on the 18.
Yep. Yeah. 18 would be. I don't know the last time a Big Ten team did that, but
it's funny as nobody thinks Nebraska is just going to run the table. Nobody thinks Purdue is going to run the table.
Right.
It could.
Right.
Nobody thought Indiana football would just run the table.
Yep. You could have a scenario. I mean, again, this is just the bracket matrix, so it's just a way to frame it. But right now, the matrix has Iowa as an 8, Wisconsin and USC as 9 seeds, and Ohio State as 11, everybody else out. If Iowa's the last 8 seed right now, Iowa loses 4 of 5 or something, and they go to Ohio State and lose, and then come home and lose to USC or something like that. I mean, you're talking 5 lock teams in the tournament, and everybody else on the bubble, maybe. At least in danger going into the last few weeks of the season. So yes, very top heavy, and when it's like that, there's going to be at least one team up there that's beating up on everybody.
What's next, Ella?
What do you got?
All right, so we're going to stay on the basketball vein here.
Okay.
John wants to know, disregarding possible draft possibilities and simply looking at production through the first 17 games, Keaton Wagler, best Illinois freshman since.
That is a great great question. I mean, we just had 2 one-and-dones. Had 2 guys chosen in the first round last year, but
So
they weren't this productive.
Yeah, not in college.
Yep. They didn't have these college numbers.
Kasparis was looking that way for a little bit.
Yes. Yes. I mean, my brain, hearing that question, immediately goes to Io.
Yeah.
But that was such a terrible team. So Io was Underwood's second year. It's when he cleaned house. There were only 4 players returning, and that was pre-portal. So it's not like he could just add players from the portal. He just went out and found, a JUCO guy here and a grad transfer there, and he added Georgie, and he added Io, and he added a whole bunch of other freshmen, and Tevian Jones, and a bunch of other players. So my brain immediately goes to Io as the last freshman who showed spark like this, but that was on a really rough and rebuilt team. So, gosh, I don't know. Who comes to mind for you?
Yeah, it was Io, and the only reason I would say, so if you say since, that means whoever you say since that's the better one than Keaton.
Yep.
The gravity of Io's presence was way bigger for the program.
Definitely.
The gravity of Keaton's presence on the floor for this team is massive.
Yep.
And now maybe even bigger in the short term, at least, with Kylan's absence.
Maybe it is Kofi. Let me look up Kofi's freshman stats.
Yeah, Keaton's numbers are better than Io's in his first year.
Yep.
My point is, if Keaton had the hype that Io had,
yep,
getting him in, if you had gotten Keaton then, knowing what he can do, I mean, he would have been a program changer, just like Io was. Io's commitment was
yes,
Illinois is back in it in terms of the recruiting.
Yep.
But maybe Kofi.
Kofi scored.
My head went to guard. That's why.
Yeah.
I mean, Kofi could immediately have a dominating presence.
13 points a game, 8.8 rebounds as a freshman, plus 44 blocks. I mean, I feel like the answer is Kofi.
That's fine.
Who's the last Big Ten freshman of the year? Is it DJ Richardson?
Kofi Coburn was freshman of the year.
Kofi was?
Yeah,
Okay.
1920.
So there's your answer. Best since Kofi. And then before then, probably go back to Paul and Richardson, maybe. That would probably be it. Okay, hit us with another question.
All right, so this one can be applied across the board. This was asking for Robert's opinion, though, on your preference of the new era of recruiting with NIL and the portal versus old school recruiting, and just kind of what you're seeing as the positives and the negatives coming out of this.
I think it's pretty simple that it's going to be framed by the fact that in the old way, Illinois couldn't ever build a roster in the last 30 years to really compete in the Big Ten. And now Illinois can build a roster to compete in the Big Ten, as we've seen the last 2 years. So obviously I like this new format and this way of accessing, hey, there's a quarterback at East Carolina and there's a wide receiver at Florida International, and they can really help us next year. As a fan of the sport, I preferred it when you went out and you recruited high school players and you developed them, and that turned into your team. And what Wisconsin had done for the last 30 years, I had always wanted excuse me, I had always wanted Illinois to do exactly that. So, personal preference, I wish it was the old way, but I'd be crazy to say that as an Illini fan, because the new way and the new roster construction has given me a 10-3 season followed by a 9-4 season, and competitive games across the board. So I'm forced to say I like the new way.
I'll go back to our earlier segment, the losingest football program in the history of college football.
Just won a national.
Just won a national title and didn't lose a game.
Yep.
And how many games did they lose last year? 2?
2. Yep. One in the regular season, one in the postseason. Yep.
It's a new era where everybody can compete. Of course, people are going to, markets shift and people are going to try to find ways to stay the haves and create haves and have-nots. But for this moment, folks in Bloomington just gave hope to a lot of at least power teams.
And if we look at college basketball, the power teams are those who are figuring this out. It's not right now. It's not North Carolina and Kansas and Kentucky and, your normal blue bloods. It's Iowa State has figured it out. And Auburn just went to a couple Final Fours. And Tennessee has been good for the last 5 years. And, we've just seen this shift in basketball as well to there's a certain subset of teams. BYU is doing it right now. They've kind of figured out how to recruit in this NIL portal era and build some really good teams. So it's an interesting time. And the names that you're used to have not been the names we've seen recently.
Is that all for today?
Yes, that's all for today.
All right, we'll close up the mailbag. Again, Light the Eye podcast at gmail.com if you want to reach out to the pod with anything you want to share or any questions for future feedback. You can also leave comments if you're in the YouTube feed if you want to do that, or you can slide into our DMs.
You keep saying that.
Isn't that something the kids say?
Yeah, Ella, help us out here. A slide usually would refer to someone like, hey, I wanted to meet that girl, so I slid into her DMs, right?
I would say you probably shouldn't ask your listeners to slide into your DMs.
Leave this in. Leave this in. We are so old. We are showing our age. I love this.
I'm trying to be relevant.
Yes. So when he says slide into our DMs, is he kind of just asking for... Okay, so when that term is used, it's mostly like, hey, I need to, this is how I'm going to contact that girl or that guy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No more slide.
But you know what?
Reach out to us on our social media channels.
Yes. Or possibly send us a direct message to our Twitter account.
Light_the_I.
I don't even think we need to say that, do we? Can't you just, when people are going to Twitter, they just search Light the Eye, right? And they're just going to come up with us, right?
I guess.
I don't know how this works. I've been the guy
They
saying...
definitely won't be sliding.
Yes, there is no sliding involved.
They will walk.
Please do not slide. Please simply click send direct message to Light the Eye on Twitter.
I'm in so much trouble.
I love it. Please leave this in. I love it.
All right, Ella, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you for guiding us through this new and confusing time of social media.
And leading us in the mailbag.
That's right. I think we covered it all, right?
All right.
I feel better. Yeah. We've gotten through therapy. I feel good.
All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Light the Eye. Thanks so much. Our producer today has been Ella Peterson. For Robert Rosenthal, I'm Scott Beatty. This has been Light the Eye, presented by the U of I Credit Union. Until next time.